All right, let's talk about how about this? When the Niners bring in a new defensive coordinator, it seems to me that defensive coordinator has a big say on personnel. Like Steve Wilkes brought in a bunch of guys on defense, and I thought he was partially responsible for them drafting Darrell Luter Jr. and Jair Brown. Then Robert Saleh last year, it was Michael Williams and all those guys on the draft, and Jason Pinnock and Bryce Huff. Now Raheem Morris is here. He was a head coach for the Falcons the last few years. And there's some of those Falcons guys are available. Do you think the Niners would be interested in some of them, such as Kyle Pitts?
They absolutely should. Especially since Kyle Pitts. They're talking about paying. JJ wants what? I mean, 15 to 18 million. I think you could probably just give that to Kyle Pitts. I'd rather have Kyle Pitts. He's younger. He's faster.
Faster, bigger, more explosive.
Need a tight end, and he's yes, I think Kyle Pitts should be one of the primary targets of this offseason. I absolutely would target him.
It seems like the rest of the league is getting so much mileage out of these 2 and 3 tight end personnel groupings, and the Niners are still trying to trick the Seahawks with 21 personnel, which isn't working. I'd love to see them not spend a bunch of money on another wide receiver. They've had really bad luck trying to do that. They don't really throw to their wide receivers enough to justify spending 25, 30 million a year on them. Tight ends are cheaper. And I think they create some really good mismatches, and I like Kyle Pitts. He could be your starting tight end while George Kittle's out. I would imagine George Kittle probably will come back at some point midseason, knowing him. And then they would make a really nice 1-2 punch for a couple of years. And it would allow you to move on from Juszczyk finally.
Kyle Pitts is an enormous talent. You put him in this offense, and I think he would explode as one of the better players in the league.
I agree. This gives me hope, the fact that they have Raheem Morris. This is a Falcons guy. I wanted them to take Kyle Pitts instead of Trey Lance, which wouldn't have been right. There were other players to take, but Kyle Pitts has never really played with a good quarterback. He's never really been with a coach or an offensive coordinator for more than a year or two. I think he could really benefit from Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy could benefit from him.
Oh, and he's 6'6". He's got a great, he's a kind of a combo tight end. I was looking at some of those numbers this year on him this week. He was flexed out much more than he was in line. So he's more like a receiver than an inline blocker. You'd have to have, another inline blocker, but so what? You can find somebody to be an inline blocker. But yeah, if you have a guy like Pitts, Pitts is a difference maker. He's 25, 26. He's coming into his own. I think whoever gets him next is going to get his best football. He now has adjusted to the NFL. He's a blue chip top 10 pick. And I think people have forgotten about that. In Atlanta, with all the changes they've made, they're probably going to let him slide out the door with the regime change, and I would be right there to pay him.